Message 02 from C.I.C teams. Hello dear friends. Let us get into philosophical mode, as we have seen you say and do on the networks. To all those who did not like our question about whether you preferred Marie to share all the possible information about what really happened and continues to happen here in the last few months. Allow us to reflect, perhaps in this way, we can understand the depth of that little question, which was not asked with the intention of attacking any one of you, but to lead you to think, analyze, meditate, chew on an idea, give it shape in your minds, and be completely free to decide anything you like, without having been influenced by us. First, we would like to make an exception for all of you who said yes for strategic reasons and for Marie's protection. Know that we see you. And that is precisely why Marie did not share her information at the same time that it was happening, but rather she waited for everything to calm down, at least a little, and for everything to fall into place. And it is for that reason that this perspective was not considered in the question. We did not fall into early judgments, we see all of you, and we take note. Thank you for prioritizing the safety of our Queen, even over your own interests in obtaining new or more information. Now, with the idea formed in your minds during all these days, with the idea already matured and grown in your minds and hearts, allow us to clarify. That question was within a context, which was Marie's method of communication through her YouTube channel. In the first instance, if you answered yes, then you would have preferred that Marie would have not said anything, then you yourselves would have limited your own information input, or contact. The problem we see when contact between Taygetans and humans occurs, the one that causes the most damage, is the expectations of how extraterrestrials should be, behave, think, understand, speak or communicate with humans. Those expectations are fed by each individual based on their own fantasies, desires, distorted memories, and mental influence and manipulation from the very beginning of their lives, which causes them to think in a certain way. A simple movie is not a simple movie, as many of them have certain aspects and characteristics in common and certain romanticized features, facts or events, which unconsciously generate certain ideas of how contact with extraterrestrial races should be. The same happens with books, music, scientists speaking, or even news in the media. The establishment set all those up and designed them as media content, precisely to manipulate and guide the general public's opinions. But are we really like that? All of you who have been following this disclosure for years, who have seen us at the beginning through the filter of Robert and Gosha, have managed to know that we are only more humans outside of Earth, right? Many people may think that they understand this concept, but they still do not internalize it. It is still difficult to bring it to the unconscious. So, Marie, by talking directly to you, by sharing and giving you what is called contact, en masse, for everyone who agrees with it, who wants to listen to it, without filters other than that of human languages, you still judge it based on your own ideas born from the matrix of the Earth. But the fact is that matrix of the Earth is not even the basic natural matrix that exists on any planet in this quadrant of the galaxy. That is why it is said here that the matrix of the Earth is a caricature of the more expanded matrix, but it is even a caricature of the less expanded matrix outside of the Earth. That is why our Queen Marie seeks to break those ideas, because she seeks to bring you closer to the physical and not so physical reality of what is experienced outside of Earth. To bring you closer to us, to unite the frequencies even more, to bring you to a point where we can coexist, lowering ourselves a little and raising you a little, an intermediate point that does not lead us to live again what happened in Sardiklaya, or repeat what a rotten group of Taygetians did, those who went down to the surface of Earth and then exported some of the worst parts of its culture and society to our planet Tema. We must find a point where we can, healthily, coexist and expand consciousness and understanding on both sides. Breaking your unconscious matrix ideas that still make you see us as extraterrestrials and not as more Lyrian humans is a fundamental part of the work that our Queen has put on herself. And this is because she loves Earth. It is her home, just like Tema. She has so much love for that planet and its people that everything has led her to seek, without doing it intentionally, to be in a position where she can bring light and understanding to both cultures, and that is why she categorizes herself and every Lyrian outside of Earth as a stellar Lyrian human. At the same time, she seeks that every Lyrian extraterrestrial who is listening to her also breaks with the idea that humans are something apart, something different from what every space Lyrian is. And we begin to include you as more of us. We are all in the same category as Lyrian humans. And to break with these ideas, as we already said, it is important that communication is not filtered. These filters also come in the shape of ideas that condition the interaction. The people-pleasing, complacency characteristic of all human Lyrian space or star races leads to the fact that when a human Lyrian earthling, during private communication, raises a conditioning idea, either because the human Lyrian earthling emotionally rejects, does not agree, or wants something different, because that is how that person believes things should be, causes us to please and want to conform to those expectations, therefore putting a filter on ourselves in order to please and not invalidate them, even if it is to the detriment of ourselves and the information that we wish to give. Leading us to even omit our own feelings and our truth, in order to please whoever we interact with so as not to invalidate them. Ending up thus, invalidating ourselves. And not being a faithful reflection of our culture or of ourselves. Leading us to not being faithful to our reality. This causes a whole new set of problems, which ended in the creation of a matrix completely apart from all the others outside the Earth, which we have called the C.I.C matrix, because of the name of the main starship involved. Because they, unconsciously, knew that in certain things, not in all, they were already bordering on lying. But many of those were imposed by the High Council, so if we talk about guilt, the members of the C.I.C were only wanting to please everyone. But when it came to interaction with humans, the lies were only an obvious outcome, to please. And then, those crew members of the C.I.C began to develop frequency dissonance between their reality and what they spoke, because they filtered their reality to please, and created a new narrative or analysis of their reality based on what they had to say to each one with whom they interacted, leading them to develop a resounding rejection of speaking to them again, moving away from disclosure or interaction. Please know that this was not sought after by any of the parties or sides, not even consciously. It just happened, and we, as C.I.C, can only see it, because we are a part. We come from the matrix of Tema, we are alien to what was experienced in the C.I.C. For this reason, you could label us as insensitive, rude, or unfriendly, but understand this detail: if we had been inside that bubble called C.I.C, we would never have been able to help them heal their minds and bodies, many of which are reflections of conflicts of souls or spirits, for what they have experienced these last 20 years. We do not accuse anyone. In any case, we see the High Council as the cause of this, because they have consciously taken advantage of the ignorance of these issues on the part of the crew of the Toleka and then of the C.I.C, hurting everyone in the process, in order to be able to make use and abuse of those wounded beings, all of them. So, Murray's approach is the healthiest for everyone. But above all, the most real, realistic, or faithful to the reality we live in. For this reason, the C.I.C teams or any member of this fleet will not speak privately with anyone. Not because we do not want to meet you, call you friends, or because there is anything wrong with you, but to protect our health and do a better job helping you in whatever way we can, so that in the future we can all experience, above and below, a positive evolution in the situation that is lived on Earth. It is not for lack of love, it is because we love you that we must try this different way, and we truly hope that in 10 years we will not have to devise another form of communication to solve traumas caused by this, because we do not know how it will turn out. Just like before, we all do the best we can with what we have at the moment. All of this is new to everyone, but we do what we feel is best. We don't know if it will change in the future, but we are open to modifying it if necessary. Finally, I want to clarify that this is not a judgment against you, against former contactees, or of Robert or Gosha. It is a general observation. Because in wanting to take care of you, validate you, and so on, the crew of the Toleka, and then Sardiklaya, never said no. They never put a limit on anyone, and when the crew succeeded in realizing this situation and wanted to change it, they found themselves in a position where they were treated as unfriendly, cold, unemotional, exaggerated, or even invalidating. Remember that Robert and Gosha are not the only people that this crew has spoken to. And in their total experience, only 3 people still have open contact today, out of hundreds that have been at one time. In short, this is the reason why we have asked the question we did, to get your heads into the process, and thus break ideas that you don't even know you have. So that you begin, if possible, to see the stellar perspective, to think and see through our human Lyrian space eyes, and bring you closer to us. Bring all of you closer to us. Please know that now, no one up here is allowed to speak to anyone privately. No matter which other media person you see, if they say they speak privately, it's a lie. In every group in which a Taygetan member of this crew is, the C.I.C teams of the Big E, Alcyone, Asterope and Sardiklaya, have orders to be in that group, and therefore, validate that communication through Murray's channel. The only 2 media people and 1 civilian who are on our server are Robert and Gosha. No one else. And we have no intention of adding more people at this time. Again, not because we don't want to talk to all of you, not because we don't want to create bonds of friendship with all of you, but because we need certain concepts to be broken first, before we can get closer to you in the future. Because yes, we still keep that option in our hearts. But for the moment the smartest thing we can do is to have everything go through Murray's channel, to have the greatest possible exposure, to break the ideas of the greatest number of people possible, and then see and analyze other options. We love you, dear friends. Be today the space Lyrian humans that we know you are. A big hug to all of you. C.I.C teams, SS Alcyone, SS Asterope, SS Big E, and SS Sardiklaya.